Today is the 100th episode of History in a Minute, and we're going to do something special for the occasion. We're going to talk about the history of how I came to teach history for Homeschool Connections. Hey there, everyone. You know me. It's Mr. Philip Campbell with Homeschool Connections, History in a Minute. I am your bearded, nerdy history guru. Today, it's the 100th episode of History in a Minute. And gosh, it seems like a lifetime ago that I launched this series with my episode on the history of pugs, and we're still going strong after all this time. And so today I want to do something a little different. More candid, no script. Just going to talk about the history of how I became the bearded history guru at Homeschool Connections. It was the summer of 2009, and I was working as the director of religious education at Old St. Patrick Parish in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is in the Diocese of Lansing, and I was running the CCD program, which prepares kids for sacraments. And then in the evening, I was attending college at Madonna University, finishing up my education program to become a teacher. And at the time, my plan was to become a teacher in the public schools. I was getting accredited to teach in public school. But the job market wasn't looking very good. It was in the beginning of the Great Recession, and all these people were leaving manufacturing and trying to go into teaching. There was like 200 applications for every job opening. So I was just wondering what I was going to do after my time as DRE was over. And so while I'm thinking all this out, summer of 2009, a woman comes into my office, and who is it? But it's Maureen Whitman, the founder and president of Homeschool Connections. I had no idea who she was. But she just happened to live nearby, and she was looking for sacraments for her kids. And I remember she was chewing this this fruity flavored gum that smelled really good. She always used to chew this gum that was like very pleasant smelling. So it was nice to talk to her. Anyhow, she says, how does your parish feel about homeschoolers? And I said, well, we love homeschoolers. You know, I have no problem. She wanted to know if she could homeschool her kids for the sacraments and receive them at our parish. And I said, certainly. And so when she heard that I was in education, that I had a background with history, and that I was a homeschooling parent, she started pitching me about Homeschool Connections. She explained to me that she just started this company and she had this vision for online Catholic education. And I was like, online education? What are you, some kind of maniac? Learning on the computer? That sounds weird, you weirdo. You weird weirdo. No, I didn't really say that, but I was struck by the novelty of the idea, because at the time, online education wasn't really a thing. But Mrs. Whitman told me, no, this is going to be big. Trust me, I got this big plan, and I need a history teacher. And so she pitched me on teaching history, and she gave me a really great pitch. She told me, it's, there's only going to be a few students. You're not going to make much money. But I was in. I didn't care. This sounded great. I was like, sure, I would love to teach history. And so I remember the first class I taught in the fall of 2009 was a little 6-week session called Roots of the Revolt. And then later that same year, I taught another one called Age of the Religious Wars. I would later combine these classes together to become the class Rending of Christendom that I still teach today. And so that was my first semester teaching with Homeschool Connections. I loved it. I loved working with HSC. I loved the model. I loved everything about it. I was hooked. I kept coming back. My classes got bigger. We had more course offerings, more instructors joined HSC. And the whole thing just kind of grew, and it became a bigger and bigger part of my life until now. Today, this is what I do. This is my whole life, is HSC and Catholic education. Sure, I'm glad I spent 5 years in college getting trained to teach in public school. And so that's it. That's how I came to work for Homeschool Connections. And it's been fantastic. I've absolutely loved every moment of it. I've loved working with all of you and getting to know you and teaching your kids and enjoying this community. And honestly, before I started teaching at Homeschool Connections, I never believed that it was possible to build such friendships and community online. But I'm happy to say that I was very wrong about that. And so, Lord willing, I'll be around for many more years as the bearded, nerdy history guru of Homeschool Connections.